I'm Postulant Brian, and with me is the fabulous sister.
Where? No,
You.
hi, I'm Sister Light of Christ, and we're joined by...
MJ Bird.
Oh, I'm so happy. I'm so happy. MJ, we have 1,000 questions for you, but we're probably only going to ask like a few, if that's okay with you.
Dang, I'm
Okay,
ready to answer all the questions.
Well, we'll catch up later over coffee. But the first question I want to ask you is, can you tell us about the one time in the 3rd grade when you thought you flunked out of school?
Where? I don't even know how y'all find these.
Is it true?
Yeah, okay, listen up. What had happened is that I had severely undiagnosed ADD, and like I literally, my mom would take me home and she'd be like, okay, I feel like you have some cognitive issues, so let's work on this. And so she would take out items from the refrigerator in order, and I would have to put them back in the right order. And after 3, I couldn't do it. And my mom was like, this is a problem. So she took me to the hospital and I got my everything scanned or something. They scanned my blood, they checked my nostril, I don't know. And I have ADD. So my school was gracious enough to not let me fail the 3rd grade. But that gave me anxiety for the rest of my school career. And I think what you're referring to is this one time in 4th grade where I misread my report card. So I got my report card, and you know how in grade school it's like, oh, for outstanding,
yes,
S for satisfactory. So I got my report card, and normally I just hand them right to my mom. So I read this, and I was at after school care. So I read it, and I saw my grade, and I was devastated. I had worked so hard. I thought I'd been improving so much, and I started sobbing, and I hid under a table, like a tiny kindergarten table. And so they call my mom, Kathleen, and she comes on down, and Kathleen's like, MJ, what is wrong? And I said, you're gonna tell me not to be mad at me. You can't be mad. And so she was like, okay, I promise not to be mad. And so I was like, you know how F is really bad? It's way past F. S is worse than F. And I thought I had failed so bad that it was all the way down the alphabet.
Oh, no.
S stands for satisfactory. So, yeah.
The more you know.
Yes. It's a learning moment.
Yeah, it really was. It was very traumatic, and I didn't know how grades worked. But now I do. God bless America.
So, one of the things I love about your philosophy, I saw on your Instagram, I think it was on a painted rock, and it said, whatever you choose to be a good one. And what I want to ask you is, while you've been preparing to play this lead character of Zander, I'm sure that, first of all, I'm sure that rock like might resonate in your life. I'm sure it's now my mantra. I'm like, whatever I'm going to be a good one. So what resonated for you in the storyline of Zander?
Oh, I feel very strongly that my personality is very similar to Xander's, period. Like when I saw the backstage audition monologue, I was like, oh, I know what this person thinks. I know this person. So basically, I feel that Zander and I are very similar in how we live in another realm. And we are kind of very like detached. Zander has this like bold cockiness almost. He's very endearing and very caring, but Zander also comes off as very just cocky, and it's kind of off-putting a lot of the time. I have quiet confidence, but there's just this realm that their headspace exists in, which is just off to the side, where most people's is like this. Xander's is like boop, 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 floating away. So that's where I relate to Zier. And also navigating the world as a person who doesn't present the way that normal society thinks they should.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I mean, like, we all can. Hello. I mean, that's why we're here. So I really relate to Xander just living your life and popping off and doing whatever Xander wants to do.
I love that. And it sounds like playing a role like Xander means a lot to you.
Yes. Yes. Coming out of school, I knew that what I wanted to do was, this is going to sound weird, but like I saw this term recently, I wanted to show the world that trans mediocrity exists. Like a trans person doesn't have to be above the rest to be worthy of respect. A trans person can be your pothead neighbor who has 3 cactuses and 2 cats and is really nice, but sometimes forgets to pick up the trash bins. Like, that is still a normal person, and you gotta respect them, and they deserve that respect. And like, a trans person is a person. So that's my mantra. So I feel that heavily.
I love it. I love it.
I think a lot of underrepresented folks suffer from that. We all have to prove that we're stronger, faster, smarter, better, prettier, more talented. So in this representation of trans mediocrity, is that what?
Yeah.
What does overall, to you, what does representation of underrepresented folks mean, and like what does that mean to you that you get to do this?
For me, representation would mean just hiring trans and BIPOC individuals as baseline. Like, baseline. We shouldn't be like, oh my god, look in the background, is that, like, no. It should be like, that's what the world looks like. So that's what the show looks like, that's what the cast looks like, that's what the extras look like. Baseline. They don't even have to be doing anything to be able to be trans. If they don't have lines, why can't they be trans? Why can't they be a Black person? Why can't they be in a wheelchair? If they don't have lines, why does it matter? I don't know. Even if they have lines, I don't know. But to be able to be in a show like this that's quite literally giving voices to those underrepresented individuals, like, not only in a gender identity, but also in like a sexuality and, you know, a skin tone, like, difference, like, all across the board, people who aren't able to tell their stories are finally getting to. And it's not even like stories that, you know, we've kind of heard. It's stories that normally are too uncomfortable to be brought to light, that only those individuals experience, if that makes any sense. So it's just an extreme honor to be able to say these words. It's like Shakespeare, you know, like, to be able to have the privilege of saying them.
Love it. And speaking of Shakespeare, we heard that you were recently doing a little Shakespeare. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, I mostly do Shakespeare. I went to a university that was it was university, but also professional Shakespeare theater was housed in the facility. So as soon as I graduated, I got hired by them a couple times. And this year, because they were trying to do an educational tour, but that can't happen, they were like, why don't we film it professionally and send that to school? So I was hired by the Pennsylvania Shakespeare Festival to quarantine for 2 weeks in a hotel, take 2 COVID tests, negative once in the incubation period, negative again. And then we all formed a bubble. We rehearsed for a week and then filmed for a week, and it was delicious. I could share drinks with people and know that it was safe. I could hug people. We cuddled. We watched horror movies together. We had a pasta night. Oh, let me tell you, the pasta night was fire. But the Shakespeare was also fire.
Literally.
I promise we worked. We had work to do. We only had 3 weeks to memorize 90 minutes of a Shakespeare piece and still make it easy for young people to understand. So I think we did it.
Oh, fantastic.
Now, speaking of having work to do, we all have work to do, because coming up is the bingo for AFAB. So please sign up, play bingo, and help fund these actors, these producers, these playwrights, these show writers, designers, technicians, because they're making art in an unprecedented time, and we
Mhm.
could not be more grateful for the stories that you're bringing to life. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It was a privilege like talking to you, both of you. I'm so happy to
Oh, it
be
was
here.
ours.
Oh yeah, it was an honor. Have a good night, everybody. Be safe. Wash your hands. Assigned Female at Birth, a web series about some bodies, is an award-winning, super queer web series about trans, NB, non-binary, LGBTQ, and women of all sizes, ability, ages, and ethnicities. Award-winning queer writer Marilyn Kay spent the pandemic interviewing 32 people and then devising a way to tell their stories, which meant remote filming with actors nationwide and then editing together their footage to make it seem like they were in the same location. AFAB has completed 5 of the 6 episodes in season 1, involves 32 interviewees, a cast of 24, a crew of 15, and can be seen on YouTube at Another Country TV. That's www.youtube.com/C/Another Country TV. Check it out.